Hi, hello everybody, I'm TrashPandaFinn, you can call me Finn, and today we're talking about closed species. So, what are they? Where did they come from? How are people paying so much money to own them? And why are so many so similar to each other and not that creative? Come join me today in this journey as we explore this drama-filled community. Now let me preface that personally, I believe closed species are a great idea, yet I believe that for most closed species, the way the system is done and executed is flawed and wrong. There's a lot of issues going on and a lot of drama that shouldn't be there, if I'm honest. The amount of drama about a design that's not even close to someone else's is insane. So, what are closed species? To put it simply, closed species are basically animals or humanoids with aspects of other animals, creatures, objects put onto them and then put behind a paywall. These species are often regulated by the artists who created them, but mostly this is not handled well. If the species becomes popular, the creator, in case they find a quote-unquote copied design or a quote-unquote illegally made OC of their species, this often results in a lot of drama that is completely unnecessary. And most of those situations do end in harassment towards someone who didn't even intentionally make a design of said closed species. So, the concept of open and closed. The difference between the two is just that open species anyone can make. There might be some few regulations in place for it, but they're mostly open for anyone to make an OC at any time. Which, in this case, I made a Fern from Whippoorwill. The speed paint is in the background of this video, as you can see. I referenced a Frost Whisper flower, I believe. I might be wrong on that. Do not come for me if that's not an actual flower, but that's just what the picture said, and that's what other pictures said of said flower that was the same. So, do not come for me. Where did they even come from, like closed species? So, the oldest entry that I found was from 2008 on Deviantart. It's not completely clear where the term closed species comes from, and I believe it's just a term that evolved from the adopt community over time. This is the oldest post that I was able to find. I'm not sure if this is like where it actually stems from, but this is the oldest post that I could find relating to closed species. Now let's talk about the price of some closed species, how ridiculously similar the designs sometimes are, and why most of them are basically just carbon copies of each other. Now, let me say this before we fully get into this section. I just want to say that artwork deserves correct pricing. In this section, I'm just criticizing how people pay thousands of dollars or euros or whatever for characters that they aren't even allowed to change or edit in any way, just so that they can be a part of a very toxic community. In my eyes, paying up to $200 for a character in my eyes is fine. Depending on how much art they have, charging more is fine. But when it comes to a point where people are paying thousands for a character they aren't allowed to edit or change in any way, for example, if they just want to change the eye color, they will either have to consult a mod, the owner of the species, or pay. They have to pay a fee to change a character's eye color. To me, that's baffling. I do not enjoy that stuff. So, yeah. Let me just say this pretzel-themed Chimereon went for $2,600. Yes, $2,600. Now, Chimereons are a very popular species, at least in the animation meme community, as well as just in the YouTube circle in general, as in, like, for artists. Chimereons are cool, they've been inactive for a while now, for months at this point, and I don't really understand why, because the demand for them is still there. But it's gotten to the point where it's been so inactive that people are just making quote-unquote illegal Chimereons now. Because honestly, it's the internet. Do what the fuck you want as long as you're not, like, harassing anybody. Or, like, sending people death threats. Honestly. Like, yeah, Chimereons are horned lizards. Like these creatures. They're basically just horned lizards, but, like, with a gummy feature. This is nothing too special. Like, yeah, the style is cool, but the thing is, everybody has their own style, so not every Chimereon will look like this. So, something like, for example, this right here might get mistaken for a Chimereon. And might get cancelled, so, yeah. But also, the thing that I just said about closed species not being too creative goes for a lot of them. Most are just blob creatures that have some sort of fluff, or there's some sort of fox hybrid with antlers and wings. Don't even get me started on the legit anime characters that just have wings on their head, like on the side of their head, like tiny wings. That is nothing new. That has existed for ages now. That's it. That has been a trope in anime for so long now. Now let's talk about the quote-unquote illegal closed species characters. Because in my opinion, they can't really be illegal. Because technically most of the closed species are not under copyright law, which means it's not illegal to make one. Yes, you will have beef with an online community of about 500 Dorito-eating children, but that's your beef, not mine. And if you're someone taking a fox, putting antlers and wings on it, that's not really creative. People have had that idea for ages now. That's nothing new. That's nothing you can be like, I want to copyright that, or I want to put that behind a paywall. Yeah, you really can't do that. Humans have had the same ideas, coincidentally, for years at this point. For example, I met someone who had a very similar OC to mine, and we've never met. This is just dumb. What I also want to talk about is the fact that if a creator of a closed species does not like you, or you have an argument with them, or you fall out with them, that these creators, quote unquote, or the owners of this closed species, feel some sort of right to revoke the OC that you have of their species. Like, I do not understand that. And like I said, illegal closed species OCs are dumb. Like, you can't put a fox with antlers and wings behind a paywall and say you owe me $300 because you accidentally made that and it's my species. Like, you can't do that. Now, let's talk about... I won't get into this deeply, but the cultural appropriation in closed species is... I have a friend who knows somewhat how to read kanji, so Japanese letters, and I've seen some of the closed species on there that literally had barf bag as a Japanese kanji lettering on their species, so like on their pattern, like that kanji combo. Yeah, they had that. We were laughing about that for like half an hour. Yeah. So, in conclusion, like I mentioned at the start, I find the idea of closed species good, but the way they're executed is dumb. And here's the finished speed paint of the open species by Whippoorwill, and this is my Fern creation. Thank you all for listening. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.